Welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into a fascinating YouTube video today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a full audiobook, actually,
Okay.
called How Your Mind Can Bend the Universe in Your Favor.
Hmm.
And it's from a channel called The Hidden Collection. Yeah,
Interesting.
and it's all about the link between mindset and the reality we experience.
I mean, who hasn't thought about that, you know?
Right. It's packed with stories and parables that illustrate how our thoughts shape our lives.
I like that approach. Makes it easier to grasp these sometimes pretty complex ideas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it starts with this idea that life is like a game.
The game.
A cosmic game with hidden rules.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Have you ever felt like you're playing a game but you don't know all the rules?
Oh, all the time. I feel like that.
This audiobook kind of dives right into that feeling head on.
Okay, I'm listening.
So like right off the bat, there's this story about a traveler who finds a hidden temple of life's game.
A hidden temple. Sounds mysterious.
Yeah, he's been playing his whole life without knowing the rules, and then boom.
He finds out.
Exactly. And that's when his real journey begins.
That's a great analogy. It makes you think about all the hidden patterns in our own lives.
Right. Are we just reacting to things?
Yeah. Or are we consciously shaping our experiences?
Exactly. And there's this other story about a shepherd who learns to protect his flock by observing the wolf.
Oh, that's smart.
He doesn't try to overpower the wolf.
How does he do it?
He wins by understanding the wolf's strategy, by learning its patterns.
So it's like knowing your enemy.
Exactly. And then they kind of pose this question
What question?
what if we could apply that to our own lives?
That's a good question.
What if we could decode the patterns of success?
Of happiness.
Or whatever we want to achieve.
Okay, now that's powerful.
And that's where the law of attraction comes in.
Oh yeah, the law of attraction. I've heard about that.
The audiobook dives into this idea that attracts.
You mean like positive thoughts attract positive experiences?
Exactly. It's like that old saying, you reap what you sow. But applying to our thoughts and beliefs.
That makes sense.
And to illustrate this, they use a story about a farmer who struggled for years.
What happened?
He just couldn't seem to make things work. Until he finally learned to work in harmony with nature's cycles with the seasons.
Oh, I get it. It's about going with the flow.
It's not about forcing things, but about aligning yourself with the natural flow of energy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they have another story that kind of ties into that.
Okay, what is it?
About a fisherman.
A fisherman?
Yeah, he was out there battling the wind and the waves, struggling to catch anything.
I can just imagine.
But then he learned to work with the currents.
Ah, instead of against them.
Yeah, to adjust his sails, to actually harness the wind.
Oh, wow.
And that's when he found success.
Interesting.
And what's really cool is how they apply this to our inner world.
Okay, how did they do that?
They're saying, what if our thoughts and emotions are like those winds and currents?
Oh, okay.
And that we can learn to navigate them to create the reality we want. Now that's deep.
Now get this next part kind of blew my mind.
What is it?
The audiobook argues that you, and I mean you listening right now.
Hey.
Yeah, you are a divine creator.
A divine creator. That's a big statement.
It is. They're saying that we have this incredible power within us to shape our reality.
Wow. I mean, I know we have some control over our lives, but
this is taking it to a whole other level.
yeah, it is.
And they ground this idea in a story about Adamus.
Who is Adamus?
He was a prince who was raised as a peasant.
Oh, wow.
He had no clue about his true lineage until someone pointed it out to him.
That's a great
And
story.
it made me think, what amazing potential are we overlooking in ourselves?
Yeah, because we've forgotten who we truly are.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
It is. And they compare it to a sculptor, this woman named Sophia,
Okay.
who sees a masterpiece hidden within a block of marble.
I see where this is going.
Our lives are kind of like that, just waiting to be sculpted
By our choices.
by our conscious choices, our beliefs, our actions. It's pretty empowering when you think about it.
It really is. And it gets even more tangible when they connect this mind game
To what?
to the physical world.
Okay, how do they do that?
They paint this really vivid picture of a mystic meditating in a barren desert.
A desert.
Yeah. And through his focused intention, he transforms the landscape
Into what?
into this lush oasis.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
It's a metaphor for what's possible when we tap into the power of our minds.
Right. So if our thoughts are that potent,
Exactly. What are we creating with every thought we have?
I guess we better be careful what we think about then.
They actually call it mental weeding.
Mental weeding.
Yeah, it's like pulling out those negative thoughts and nurturing the positive ones.
Like tending a garden.
Exactly. What seeds are you planting in the garden of your mind?
Okay, now that's an image that sticks with you.
And intention plays a big part in all of this, too.
Oh, yeah, intention.
They use this analogy of an archer aiming for a target.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
Even the most skilled archer will miss
Yeah.
if they don't have that clear focus.
And an intention behind each shot.
Right. And then they contrast this with two merchants.
Two merchants.
One who just kind of wanders aimlessly, never quite finding success.
And the other one.
He sets out with a clear destination in mind.
I'm guessing he's the one who achieves his goals.
You got it. It just makes you realize how important it is to have that clear vision.
That sense of purpose.
Yeah, that guides your actions.
I like that.
And then they dive into this fascinating concept of belief as the master key.
Belief? Okay.
There's this story about a child who unlocks an ancient treasure.
How is he here?
Simply through his unwavering belief in this magical stone.
Wow.
It's not just wishful thinking, though.
What is it then?
It's about aligning your actions with your desires.
Creating a resonance with the universe.
That's it. And they have another story about a sage who manifested rain in a drought-stricken land.
Serious? Just through his belief?
Yeah, through his unshakable faith.
That's incredible.
It makes you think about how much power we give away when we doubt ourselves.
Yeah, when we limit our beliefs.
And all of this leads to this beautiful concept of aligning with the universal flow.
Universal flow.
Think of a river effortlessly moving towards its destination.
Okay, I'm visualizing it.
That's the kind of effortless progress we can experience when we align ourselves with the natural forces of the universe
When we stop resisting.
and start flowing.
I love that analogy.
And they give another example about a skilled sailor.
Okay, what does he do?
He adjusts his sails to harness the wind
So he's working with it.
instead of fighting against it.
Yeah.
And they ask, what if we could approach life's challenges with that same adaptability?
That same trust in the process.
Exactly. We're back for more of how your mind can bend the universe in your favor.
This audiobook really has me thinking about things differently.
I know, me too. Especially when it comes to the idea of abundance.
Yeah, what really hit me was that story about Darius. That miserly merchant who thought hoarding all his possessions meant true wealth.
Oh, yeah. He learns the hard way.
That abundance isn't about holding on tight.
But about letting things flow.
Exactly. It's counterintuitive.
You'd think clinging to what you have would bring security.
But the audiobook says it actually creates blockage.
It's like damming a river.
The water can't circulate.
Ah,
It just stagnates.
that's such a good analogy.
They have this parable about a farmer who plants more seeds during a drought.
When everyone else is hoarding theirs,
She trusts in the abundance of nature.
and her generosity is
A
rewarded.
bountiful harvest.
It made me realize that sometimes giving more is the key to receiving more.
And giving isn't just about money, is it?
It could be our time,
But-
our knowledge.
Even just a kind word to a stranger?
It's about shifting from scarcity to abundance.
Recognizing that the universe is overflowing with resources.
But then they introduce this concept of detachment.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
They tell this story about a man who crushes a bird in his hand by holding it too tightly.
Oh, wow.
It's a metaphor for how our attachment to outcomes can prevent us from getting what we want. It's like we're trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
We create resistance when we try to control every little detail.
What if we could just surrender to the universe's plan?
Trust that there's something bigger at work. They connect this to manifestation.
Suggesting that when we let go of specific outcomes, we open ourselves up to infinite possibilities.
Let go and let God.
It reminds me of a story about a sailor caught in a storm.
What happens?
He realized that by letting his boat dance with the waves instead of fighting them, he could navigate the chaos better.
It's like surrendering to the current.
A beautiful image of surrender.
And speaking of powerful forces.
This audiobook emphasizes gratitude.
Yes, one of my favorite parts.
The story about the traveler in the desert who manifests as an oasis through gratitude.
Amazing.
It shows how appreciation isn't just a passive emotion.
It's a creative force that attracts more blessings.
What I found interesting was the idea that gratitude is like a seed.
When you plant it, it grows into abundance.
They even tell a story about a craftsman who infuses his work with gratitude.
And his creations become masterpieces.
It makes you think about how we can elevate anything we do by bringing more gratitude to the process.
Like a secret ingredient.
It can transform the mundane into something magical.
But the audiobook doesn't stop at personal abundance.
It challenges us to think bigger.
To expand our vision beyond just ourselves.
They use this story about a monarch who finds fulfillment not through wealth,
But by sharing his abundance with his kingdom,
His generosity lifts everyone around him.
a rising tide lifts all boats.
When we focus on the well-being of others, our capacity to manifest grows.
They also share a story about a village that overcomes scarcity by working together,
It makes you wonder what we could achieve if we collaborated more.
instead of seeing each other as competitors.
Now, this is where it gets a bit mysterious. Synchronicity.
Those moments when everything just lines up perfectly. Those meaningful coincidences that feel like winks from the universe.
They tell a story about a traveler who finds a hidden treasure by following seemingly random signs.
It makes you realize how many synchronicities we might be missing.
When we're not paying attention.
It's like we're all connected,
And those synchronicities are reminders that we're not alone.
that there's a guiding force.
And this leads to one of the most mind-blowing ideas in the audiobook.
Rewriting the cosmic rules.
It sounds almost rebellious.
But they tell this story about a game master who realizes he can change the rules of the game,
And he realizes the players have been blindly following these rules.
limiting themselves.
It's like we've been given this rule book called life.
And we just accept it without question,
They share a story about a weaver who breaks free from tradition.
creating her own unique designs.
Made me think about all the rules we've internalized.
All the limitations we place on ourselves.
What if we could break free?
Create something entirely new. But then they remind us that life is an ongoing process.
A journey without a final destination,
They use the analogy of a traveler who reaches a mountaintop.
only to see even more peaks on the horizon.
It's a reminder that there's always more to explore.
And it's not about reaching some endpoint.
Mastery is a process, not a destination.
It's about embracing the challenges, the setbacks, the unexpected turns.
Knowing that each experience is an opportunity for growth.
I love how it encourages us to actually live these teachings.
To take them off the page and into our lives.
It's not just about intellectual understanding.
It's about embodied wisdom.
It's about recognizing that the universe is always responding to our vibration.
To the energy we're putting out.
If we focus on lack and negativity, that's what we'll attract.
But if we shift to abundance, gratitude, and joy, our reality will reflect that.
It's about consciously choosing our thoughts
Our belief.
and our intention.
And remembering we have the power to rewrite the rules of our game.
We can break free from the limitations that are holding us back.
From playing full out,
This deep dive has been an incredible exploration,
uncovering hidden gems of wisdom and insight.
but it's just the beginning.
Now it's time to put what we've learned into action.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, remember that life is an ongoing adventure.
Embrace the journey.
Trust the process.
Never stop reaching for your highest potential.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep exploring the power within you to bend the universe in your favor.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into how your mind can bend the universe in your favor.
It's like we've been on this incredible journey exploring all these fascinating concepts.
We started with life as a game with hidden rules.
And now we're seeing that we have the power to understand those rules and maybe even rewrite them.
Yeah, it's pretty empowering.
To think we're not just passive players, but active creators.
Shaping our own reality
It all comes down to understanding the power of our minds.
and aligning with that universal flow.
The audiobook really brings everything together.
It shows how all these concepts connect to the bigger picture,
It's not just individual pieces of wisdom.
but a whole tapestry of conscious creation.
We've been given all these tools.
The law of attraction, emotional alchemy.
The power of belief, gratitude, surrender, synchronicity.
It's up to us to use them to experiment.
And see what works.
One of the biggest takeaways for me is that this journey's ongoing.
There's no finish line.
No point where we've arrived.
It's about continuous growth.
Expansion, evolution,
Like that traveler who reaches the mountaintop.
and sees even more peaks on the horizon.
It's humbling, but also exciting.
To know there's always more to discover.
And it's not about perfection.
Mastery is a process, not a destination.
It's about embracing the challenges, the setbacks, the unexpected turns.
And knowing that each experience helps us grow.
I love how the audiobook encourages us to live these teachings.
To take them off the page into our lives,
It's not just about understanding intellectually.
but about embodied wisdom,
The universe is always responding to our vibration.
to the energy we're radiating.
If we focus on negativity, that's what we'll attract.
But if we shift to abundance, gratitude, joy, our reality will reflect that.
It's about choosing our thoughts,
Our beliefs,
our intentions,
and remembering we can rewrite the rules.
break free from limitations.
This deep dive has been an amazing exploration.
Uncovering so much wisdom.
but it's just the beginning.
Now we take what we've learned and put it into action.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, remember, life is an adventure.
Embrace the journey.
Trust the process.
Never stop reaching for your full potential.
And until next time, keep diving deep
Explore the incredible power within you.
to bend the universe in your favor.